Good morning, 10:04. Boogie with the Bull Red, Friday morning caffeine. Dave Goldman with you this morning. Bill Markler is on vacation. He'll be back in early August. So the same things that normally get covered on a Friday will get covered today. Red Friday, which is remember everybody or everyone deployed. Remember everyone deployed Friday. We all wear red. Usually Bill has a red hat and a red shirt. The rest of us have red shirts. And we take a moment or two to just remember everyone who is out serving around the world to protect the United States of America and our interests as well as our allies. And we remember people that left the country, got deployed someplace else, and did not come back. So kind of like Veterans Day, but more along the lines of just remembering everybody who has served or is serving. Take a moment or two and think about that as you go through your day. And salute. Then we move on to news that you may or may not want to hear. We ended early with Thursday Night Live so that everybody could go watch the Biden press conference. And the overwhelming review that I saw, both with Republicans, Democrats, my own view, is that he actually did a pretty good job. He was there for about an hour. And I don't know if the questions were planned. I assume they were, probably because there was a list of people who were going to ask questions, and the order that they were going to ask questions indicates that regardless of what you think about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities, if he knew the order of people that were going to ask questions, odds are he probably got the questions in advance and may have had an opportunity to rehearse his answers. And in the 248-year history of the United States of America and our having presidents, I'm sure he's probably not the first president who knew the order of the questions, who was going to ask him, and actually knew what the questions were going to be. You know, whether or not he spent more time rehearsing the answers or working with his team to come up with the answers that he used last night, I don't know. You know, he's got a speechwriter, he's got a press secretary, he's got advisors on just about everything happening in the United States of America, and I'm sure he spoke with all of them and got their input as to what's actually going on and how he should respond. You know, a long time ago, I said that the president of the United States is probably no different from the president of a multinational corporation. You understand what your company does, you understand everything about that, but you don't actually have your thumb on everything your company is doing every single day, and you have people reporting to you to understand. So as being president, it's probably no different. You know, he has to call up the Department of Justice and yell and scream or talk to Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and find out what's going on over there. And then he might have to talk to Pete Buttigieg over at the Department of Transportation, and, you know, to keep his eye on what's happening and make sure that things are going the way that he as president wants them to go. Blunders in the speech, yes, I guess at least once he said Vice President Trump when he meant to say Vice President Harris. You know, it's a blunder. Does it show that there might be some cognitive issue? Yeah. Could it show that maybe he was a little stressed doing this press conference last night? Yeah. Was the blunder a blunder? Yeah, the blunder was a blunder. But he's apologized in the past for having trouble getting the words out of his mouth when he was going to introduce someone or acknowledge someone who was at a speech. But the common denominator here among Republicans and Democrats is that at 81 years old, he's probably too old. And although last night he did say that if he's told that he needs to get a neurological examination before becoming the Democrat candidate, he will in fact go and do that. I don't know how that will fall into play. Who will actually do the examination? Of course, it has to be a neurologist, but who knows if it will be one provided probably through Walter Reed Army Hospital, which is where the president goes for his health care, or would it be the White House doctor with a White House neurologist? Because as the press secretary said the other day, there are so many different kinds of doctors within the office of the White House doctor that obviously there's a specialist for each different kind of thing that president may need to be examined for. So all in all, like I said, I think he did stand tough. He didn't look like he was too stressed out. He didn't look like he was on anything, as people have said before. He did do some and whatever you want to call it, catchphrases, as maybe he was trying to get his mind focused on what he wanted to say. And, even if you don't have dementia, people have problems doing that. And even if you do have dementia, I had problems a lot of times trying to formulate my words when I want to talk to people or have talked to people in the past. And, if you take a minute or two to gather your thoughts before you say something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have dementia, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't. Enough hearing neurologists on both sides, the Republican side, the Democrat side, they all say he's got something. They're not going to put an exact finger on it without doing a neurological there. I had trouble getting my tongue around my teeth. Neurological exam. When they do one, I would guess that since he has agreed to it and announces that it will be done, that the results will be made public. Whether or not he accepts the results, if the results say, no, you're an 81-year-old man in some stage of dementia and you should not be president of the United States anymore, will he accept that and step down? Will he step down as the Democrat candidate? I don't know, because he kept saying throughout the whole thing, when he was pressed on that he's going to finish his term, he's going to run for re-election, and he believes that he is going to win because he believes that he is the best person on the Democrat side to beat Donald Trump. And that is not a common view even with Democrats, and it's not a common view with Democrat donors, big money Democrat donors. Like I said, Roy Disney's granddaughter, who controls the purse strings of the assets of Disney owned by the Disney family still, and a big money donor to the Democrats, has said not only if Joe Biden is the Democrat nominee will they not donate to his candidacy, they will also not donate to any Democrat running for an office, House, Senate, or running for re-election, House, Senate, that endorses Joe Biden continuing on to a second term as president. So there you have it. As I often say, you have to decide how you feel and make the decision for yourself. So when you watch this a second time later, or think about it after you watched, you will have an opportunity to form your own opinion and speak your opinion. And don't, you have to allow people the opportunity to speak theirs and at least acknowledge it. You don't necessarily have to agree with theirs, and they don't necessarily have to agree with yours. And sometimes you just stop talking with some people. I keep in touch with one of my sisters in California on Instagram. Usually it was once a day, every couple of days, until the last time she made a comment about President Trump. She has a right to make any comment that she wants about anybody that she wants, but unfortunately, the comment that she made was proven not to be a valid situation and in court, and was dismissed one time. Carol, whoever, who claimed that she was raped by President Trump in a crowded, busy department store, I believe managed to get him convicted of sexual assault, and a jury awarded her $83 million. I believe that case is now sitting, waiting to go to the appeal phase, because evidently President Trump's lawyers claim that the story that Carol is using when she's on talk shows and whatever, and in books that she may have written to discuss what actually took place on that day, appeared to be the script word for word from a Law and Order episode that ran in the 1980s, I believe. Right down to the name of the store that she claims this took place in was in fact the store, the name of the store, and used in the episode of Law and Order. So the word plagiarize comes to mind, and we all know that Democrats have been known for plagiarizing. Probably some Republicans have probably been known for plagiarizing too, but I wouldn't call it plagiarizing. I'd call it a copyright violation, because you took, and it's not even a fair use copyright violation, you took somebody else's copyrighted idea and plagiarized it to your own, and you didn't win in your court case. You managed to get a sexual whatever judgment and win $83 million, which, like I said, is on hold, and she probably won't get it in light of the immunity case by the Supreme Court. Her case will probably be dismissed. And for everybody who is moaning and groaning that, oh, now President Trump, can claim everything he did and yet was under the presidential seal and get immunity, Joe Biden and his people can do exactly the same thing. When the Republicans, if they own the House and or own the Senate, and get their investigations into it and their committee hearings into it, may find that Joe Biden is immune. And I think if you push the whole thing on Joe Biden and his mental state to the limit, as far as most people will let you push it, is that it isn't so much that they want that sweet 81-year-old senile gentleman, or whatever word Special Prosecutor Robert Hur used, that they want him so much prosecuted for doing anything. They just want him removed so that he can't hold a federal government position, can't run for a federal government position for the rest of his life. And, you can sit there and go, oh, no. Well, it's exactly what you Democrats did with Donald Trump. The whole thing was election interference on both sides. Donald Trump didn't have to do any election interference deliberately on purpose, registered people more than once, do all the kinds of things that it's been proven Democrats have done in the 2020 election and will probably do or did already for the 2024 election. But, the whole game stinks. And when I think about it, and I think to the limit on it, I personally believe when it comes to the president and their tag-along vice president, political parties should be removed. Because as Joe Biden says, I'm not just the Democrats' president, I'm everybody's president. And obviously, he doesn't believe that, I'm sure, because at times he is quoted verbatim as saying, ultra MAGAs and MAGA extremists and the MAGA political party, which he has said before, like there's a third political party, the MAGAs. Obviously, he is harping on people that I bet if you asked him, he'd probably tell you he would prefer they don't vote for him. But I personally believe that the parties, Republican, Democrat, should be removed from the office of president. And it should be removed from probably most of the departments that answer to the president as part of the judicial branch, the executive branch, which the president runs, and the legislative branch, which the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer run. It should not be on a political basis. If the best person for a job that you're voting for is a Democrat and you're registered as a Republican, vote for the Democrat. I've done it before, and I would probably do it again. My grandfather did it before, and I'm sure he did it other times too, and he was the most God-fearing, card-carrying Republican that I ever knew. But when Bill Clinton was elected, he told me he voted for Bill. I won't venture to guess that he voted for Barack Obama, but I'll admit that I voted for Barack Obama because I wasn't voting for Mitt Romney or John McCain, whichever one actually ended up running. I don't remember. But I wasn't going to vote for John McCain, and I wasn't going to vote for Mitt Romney because I was not happy at all with Mitt Romney's term as governor of Massachusetts, especially when he was out running around trying to become the Republican presidential nominee, because unfortunately, when you do that, you're very well known in your home state if you're a governor, and you might be known in some of the other 49 states, but you got to spend time in the 49 other states to make sure those people vote for you, because you pretty much think that the people in your home state are going to vote for you. And I don't remember if Romney even carried Massachusetts, but he elevated Jane Swift, the lieutenant governor, to acting governor while he was not around, and very often would come back from the campaign tour to sit in the governor's office and change things that acting Governor Swift had done because he didn't agree with the view that she took. And, too bad that you have to do that. You should have a vice president who you think agrees with you 100%, which is why they're your vice president. And even though they have a brain and they know how to use it, they're going to, if they become president or acting president while you're away from the White House, they're going to represent you as temporary president or whatever. But anyway, my mind is rambling all over the place this morning. So this broadcast isn't going to be that long. I kind of came on, I rambled, did it without caffeine this morning because I decided I wanted to finish up a bottle of Powerade that I had open this morning. So maybe things will change if I caffeinate myself later in the day. Probably not. Anyway, this is the part of the broadcast where we grab 6 soft targets. Bill Buckler's first novel. And as we all have said, and Bill has told us many times, it is a story about the incidents of like 9/11 and how that whole thing took place and what happened afterwards. About 300 pages, so if you're an avid reader, you can probably sit there and read it in, 300 minutes. It does read very well. I'm not a book reader at all, and the first time I sat down and I did read the first chapter, as he said, and then I sat down and I read 2 chapters more, actually 3 chapters more, and then the first couple of pages of chapter 5. Then I put it down, and I will get back to it soon. I did promise before Bill comes back in August that I will have finished it. Wrote my reviews of all the chapters, probably wrote him my reviews of all the chapters, and I will admit that I do send him, when I'm discussing chapters of his books, I do write a pretty intense, pretty long response that I'll jokingly call the Cliff Notes, for those of you that may not have read the book or the chapter. As soon as we finish 6 soft targets, we will go back to the 2020 books. 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future, and 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future. Trying to get them both in my hand this morning without dropping them. There they are. The set is $25. $25 donation is what he is asking for. They're hardbound books. They're very, very good books. I call them the Conservative Patriot Bible. If you do a broadcast or you just want to hear and read why Bill Buckler probably should have been president in probably should have run for president in 2015 and become the Republican president in 2016. Some views that still hold true today, 9 years later, for a lot of people. The Department of Education in Washington, D.C., which he calls the Department of Indoctrination, should be closed. He reminds everybody that we didn't have one until the Carter administration, I believe, sometime in the 1970s. I don't remember Bill's exact date, but that it was created under President Carter, and for a time actually did the job that it was supposed to do. Our scores on most standardized testing, as well as similar tests in other countries, we were in the top dogs, and a lot of times we were the top dog. Where we are today on those tests, I can't tell you. The current Secretary of Education is the former Connecticut Secretary of Education, Dr. Manuel, I want to say Cardona, or I want to say Cardona. I don't remember exactly, and I apologize for not having it in front of me, but I didn't plan on mentioning him. And while he was the Secretary of Education in Connecticut, did a pretty good job. Also had to deal with one of the worst school shootings, if not the worst school shooting in the history of school shootings, Sandy Hook. And but that's not why I mention him or say that the Department of Education on the federal level needs to be removed. I think it needs to be removed because the federal government shouldn't be dictating what education should be in all 50 states. The governors of those states, working with their state legislature, working with the city schools, the county schools, the state schools, the private schools, should all be on board with what should be taught in the public schools and how it should be taught. And a lot of things that are happening in the public schools shouldn't be happening. Under Attorney General Merrick Garland, who I often call marinated in garlic so that I don't get in trouble for saying something that Facebook or Meta or YouTube or even X might not like me saying. Lost my train of thought. But anyway, the Department of Education should be closed on the federal level. It should go back to the state departments of education, as I started to say, and they working with all of the schools in their states, and I believe it's both public and private and homeschool, all kinds of schooling. They should be working together to formulate the policies for their individual states. And some states might work together with their departments of education, and some may choose not to do it just the way they want to do it in their state. Just like when it comes to laws, we have the Constitution, and then each state has a constitution, and it's pretty much the same thing. What most states allow you to do is pretty much what the Constitution allows you to do, and what the Constitution didn't allow you to do. A lot of states didn't allow you to do, but most of the decisions, whether it's education or medical or whatever, most of those important decisions should be handled on a state by state level. And if the governors choose to work together with each other, then they do. And if some decide not to be involved in something and just run it the way they want it in their state, then so be it for them as well. The IRS, Bill has said in the book and has said on broadcasts with us several times, the IRS should be abolished. I believe so too. But, I don't pay income tax because my Social Security is not income taxable yet. But I don't believe, owe the federal government any money just because you have a job in this country. Just like if you don't have a job in this country and the government gives you money, you don't have to pay it back. So why should you have to pay taxes to the government? They're not responsible for you getting a job. You either went to a private school and graduated and got a degree, or you went to a public school and graduated and got a degree, and hopefully you got a job. And on student loans, we know that President Biden understands, but doesn't appear to accept it, that he cannot forgive your student loan. And to me, just saying, as president, you don't have to pay back your student loan is a terrible thing. Because what he neglects to tell you or may not even know is that if you got a student loan, whether you got it through a federal government agency or you got it from a private loan source or a state-funded loan source, it doesn't really matter. Those loans are usually co-signed by Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac and Sally Mae, or one of them, which means that if you don't pay it, the taxpayers are going to pay it. So you should not be given a reason, a president saying that you just don't have to pay it back because I hope you vote for me for re-election. You don't have to pay it back. Because even Nancy Pelosi told him several times, and has probably continued to tell him several times, that she did when she was speaker, you don't have the authority to do that. Speaker of the House or anyone in the House could bring up a motion that the House votes on and sends to the Senate. And if the Senate agrees with it, they send it to the president and the president signs it. Or if the president vetoes it by not signing it, then it goes back to, then I believe it goes back to the House and the Senate for a second vote. And then it's considered overridden or overridden, whatever the proper English term is. And it becomes law, meaning the Congress can pass a law that the president does not agree to sign into being a law. That's the way it was, because we have a legislative branch of the government. We don't have a king who just says and does whatever he wants. I am going to read something to you, and you can decide whether or not you can make heads or tails out of it. But the order of succession, should something happen to the president, seems to be it goes to the vice president. And then if something happens to the vice president, it goes to the Speaker of the House. What this says is the order of succession specifies that the office passes to the vice president. That's if something happens to the president. If the vice presidency is simultaneously vacant, the powers and duties of the presidency pass to the Speaker of the House, then to the President pro tempore of the Senate, and then the cabinet secretaries, depending on their eligibility as to whether or not they can be president. So what I read into that is that if a vice president becomes president, they're going to name a vice president, and it will be a vice president of their party. So that if something happens to them, the vice president becomes president, and the whole thing just keeps going, a new vice president or whatever, so that it doesn't pass to the Speaker of the House. Because if it does, I guess vice presidency would pass to the Speaker of the House. But I could be wrong, but the Speaker of the House has much more authority in what they can and can't do as Speaker of the House of Representatives than what the President of the United States can do. The Speaker, through the House, can pass a bill that creates a tax. It goes to the Senate, they vote on it, and then it goes to the president, who obviously wants that tax, so they're going to approve it. They're going to sign it into law. But Joe Biden, as I said a moment ago, cannot make a decision that you don't have to pay back your student loan. Taxpayer-funded organizations like Freddie Mae and Sally Mac, Freddie Mac and Sally Mae, are going to gladly upchuck taxpayer money and pay back all of your loans. And that is not the way it should be. As far as I am concerned, you got a degree. You went to college, you got a degree. You borrowed money to get that degree. You borrowed whatever money you thought you needed to get that degree. You usually don't start paying it back until sometime after you've graduated and gotten that degree. Job that you got with that degree, doing whatever you wanted to do, pays you enough that you can pay back your student loans. I understand that interest on student loans is rather high, and it's allowed to be high, but it's rather high. If you're having a problem paying your student loan because, say, you borrowed $500,000 and you graduated and you got your degree and you're doing your job, but you're still only working at McDonald's because you can't get a job doing what you thought you would do with the money you thought you would do, then you should be able to refinance the remaining portion of your student loans, say the $150,000 that you haven't paid back yet. You should be able to refinance that at a lower rate, not continue paying the $500,000 full interest amount. And hopefully that makes your payments less, just like you do with your car. You buy a car, and a year or two into it, if you can, you refinance it, usually at a lower interest rate, and it brings your payments down. Or your mortgage, the same kind of thing. Should you not pay your student loan back and not pay it back within a certain set period of time, or refinance it with a new agreement, and you don't pay it back, period, should you lose your degree? Personally, I think so. Yes. Yes. Why? You borrowed money. You went to school. You got the degree. You got the job. You could afford to pay it back. You may have had to renegotiate some money that's left. Your payment went down. You still didn't pay it back. And you're still doing the job. And now, for example, you're Dr. Phil, doing a TV show that's seen around the world, and good guy doing stuff, and making all kinds of money, and you still didn't pay it back. Then, yeah, you should have the degree taken away from you. Or if you're a doctor and you have a license to be a doctor, maybe your license should be taken away until you pay your money back. Until you pay it back. The taxpayer should not have to go on the hook and pay back you're being a doctor, or you're being a master fry cook, or whatever it is that you do. Nobody else should be responsible for your taxes. And then we can move back to, like I just said, the IRS should be gone through and abolished. We should go through both the House and the Senate, all of their committees, all of the offices, all of whatever, everywhere that tax money went into the House or into the Senate, what it went in for. Is it being used the right way? Do we not need money in that issue or whatever anymore, in that account anymore? And if the answer is yes, then we take it back. And it goes back into the general fund. And next year, you start with a new budget, just like the country. Also, I support Warren Buffett, who says that anytime inflation is over 3%, Congress stops getting paid until they bring inflation back to less than 3%. And if they can't do it in their term, then they don't get paid. Period. And it's not retroactive to getting paid from when they told they weren't going to get paid anymore to when they fixed it. It's not retroactive. It's you fix it, prove that you fixed it, and then you start getting paid again. So you could quite possibly serve an entire term, a 2-year term in the House or a 6-year term in the Senate, and never get paid. And unfortunately, that's how that game should be played. Now, it's very easy for Warren Buffett to say that, because Warren Buffett is a guy who is worth like $100 billion. And is successful in keeping any quote unquote inflation at Berkshire Hathaway well under 3%, I'm sure. And maybe he doesn't pay the executive officers of Berkshire Hathaway until they bring it back to 3% or less. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's a great idea. I actually think it's a really good idea. I also think that House and Senate starting salaries, the base salary of $174,000 is way too high. And I say that because you formed a campaign committee to get elected, and you got tons of money in your campaign committee to get reelected. And you get other money under the table that whether or not it's legal or not, you get it. And there's ways that you're allowed to use money in your campaign fund and everything. But you should not get $174,000 a year for that job. I'm sorry. Especially for the number of days each year that you work. If you're expected to work 365 days of each year of your term and be available, let's say 24 hours in a day, let's give you 8 hours. Actually, let's be generous. Let's give you 10 hours to sleep every night. You got to be available 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for that job, because it's a 7-day-a-week job. It doesn't stop when you go home on vacation. It doesn't stop when you're not there or whatever. It needs to be brought down, especially when people see is you go into a job that pays you $174,000 a year, and say your net worth was $20,000, and all of a sudden you're worth $8 million. And you obviously didn't make that $8 million being a member of Congress. Well, you did, but that's not how you should be paid. George Washington, in the beginning, I believe, had said that when it came to Congress, he didn't want people serving that were dependent on the pay they would get from being a representative or a senator. He wanted people who were able to support themselves doing it and wouldn't only take it as a job to get a paycheck. So that's what I'm trying to say there. Anyway, read closer because this font today is too small. 44 minutes, and I said it wouldn't be more than an hour to everybody. And I'm not wearing headphones because I don't have guests on with me today. Bill Muckler's on vacation until early August, and I made a decision this morning that I was going to do a Rebel Fest and Tangentry solo and speak as myself. So that is why there are no guests with me this morning. And sometimes I guess I have a right to do that, because on some broadcasts I don't talk much, and on some broadcasts I'll use other people's words. I talk too much, and I can't win. Sometimes I put a broadcast together and I have the topics of what I would like us to discuss alongside of whatever just happens to come out of our mouths on a broadcast. And I don't have to talk very often or just do my classic interrupt and take my turn, or it gets passed to me and I get my turn. So, broadcasts are great either way. Sometimes it's better to just be me here by myself, telling you what I think and hoping that you take that into consideration and you form your own opinion, and then you decide to do what you do because it's what you want to do. I've always said it's not the job of me, Boogie with the Bull, or any of the Boogie with the Bull broadcasts to come on and tell you what we think, what I think, and expect that you do exactly the same way. I don't want to do that. The original plan for Boogie with the Bull was not to become a political talk show where I would tell you or ramble on what I think and what I want you to do, and you log off and you go and do what I told you to do. No, it's not what it was. The original plan for Boogie with the Bull was to do a morning talk show and bring other broadcasters who aren't on in the morning, and people can't watch them at night when they're on, into the morning so that they could talk about their broadcasts. And then we would, of course, talk about politics. And in most cases, we agreed. And in some cases, we didn't agree. And over time, we gave people what we called the Rhodes Doctrine. Because Randy Rhodes had said so many times on a broadcast when Michael Anthony was on in the beginning, or Jen Woodruff was on all the time in the beginning, Randy would tell you that the Democrats told us what they were going to do, when they were going to, what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, when they were going to do it, and then told us again they were doing it right in front of our faces. And if you don't believe that the 2024 election, at least on the Democrat side, has become early indications of stealing another election or electing someone who is totally incompetent to do the job so that they can have a shadow government behind him, or make us all think that Joe Biden is the president because she tells Joe what to do. Wake up, because it's happening. And last night was a prized example. I got someone came into the live chat and made a comment that Biden is going to turn it over to Kamala tonight. So everybody, I'm sure the ratings were through the ceiling because everybody went to ABC News. We ended a half an hour early last night so they could watch it. And I kept watching it, waiting to see. And finally, someone asked him a question. I think it was near the end. If the Democrats tell you you're not going to be the nominee, they have someone else, and that person is going to be the nominee, do you agree to step down and not be the nominee and understand that you won't run in the election? And he said, yes, but only if they tell me that. Well, the majority of Democrats that he's talking to lately, I'm sure, are telling him he needs to step down, meaning not run in November. I don't know where they stand on should he resign as president. I don't believe he should resign as president. We'll wrap up the broadcast with this. I don't believe that he should resign as president. Even if Kamala Harris becomes the Democrat nominee for president, I believe that to the best of his abilities right now, he should continue being the president. Finish up the term and then wave goodbye and hop on to Marine One and go to Joint Base Andrews and catch Air Force One and take his last flight home to Delaware or wherever his new home is going to be. I don't believe 4 or 5 months before the election, Kamala Harris can step up to where the president was and deal with all of the things that Joe Biden has been dealing with as president. I don't believe that it's necessary to do that. Also, I don't believe that she should be president and then go into a campaign running as the incumbent president because she only served for 5 months, 4 months, whatever it is. I just don't believe that. I do believe that if Kamala Harris becomes the Democrat nominee, it's very likely that she will pick Gavin Newsom as her vice presidential running mate. And she may continue on as vice president. I don't know. Or may just leave. I don't really know. I don't think that. I just don't think it's the right way to do it. Hasn't had enough time. Vice president doesn't do anything of what the president does, except in this case, steal documents from when they were a senator. So, I guess we'd have to investigate Kamala Harris to make sure that when she was Senator Kamala Harris, she didn't steal any documents from the White House and keep them as vice president and maybe even steal more while she was vice president. I guess that would have to happen before she would become president. And doesn't the Senate have final say if something happens to the president and the vice president moves up to president? Doesn't the Senate have to approve it? Just like, I don't know. Anyway, we've just about come up on our hour. I want to thank Daniel Smith for watching from Ontario, California. It's probably a beautiful, wonderful, hot day out there in Ontario, California. Randy Rhodes messaged me a short time ago that he woke up very sick, and that is why he's not with us this morning. Probably would have been more fun if he was. Might have been more entertaining than the broadcast I put you through for just about an hour. Tomorrow is Saturday the 13th. And there will be a rare Saturday morning Boogie with the Bull at 10 a.m. And anyone and everyone who wants to be on the broadcast up to a maximum of 7 other me's, because I'm one and there's 8 people max, are welcome to join us. If you do a broadcast and you use StreamYard, you can link your broadcast to Boogie with the Bull. And if there are 8 of us and we're all linked to each other's broadcast, we might crash the internet. Or at least take control of it for a interesting period of time. That's always been something that I'd like to do on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. So good morning, Daniel Smith, and anyone else who is watching. I didn't get this shared live because I just hopped and jumped right into the broadcast. So in the spirit of that, we will do a Xander Gibb Memorial pre-rehearsal, even though it's a little late for that. We'll do a Xander Gibb Memorial pre-rehearsal and go to the broadcast where it says 10 people are watching, and we will go back. We will do share, and we will read them off as we share them. And I can't guarantee that it will be posted in all of them, but I will mention it off. Stand with Trump, it will be in there. Red Patriots for America, it will be in there. Donald Trump, it will be in there. The Red MAGA Nation, it will be in there. United Patriotic News, it should be in there. MAGA News Nation, it will be in there. Freedom Fighter, it is in there now. Conservative Freedom Defenders with Art Sessa, who is now an admin of Stand With Trump and Donald Trump groups. It's in there. And I'm an admin of Conservative Freedom Defenders. American Regulators, which we're still trying to put back together after its deep cleaning. You have it. Street Fighters, you've got it. You're growing too. Street Fighters is almost at 1,000 members before the election, which is what group owner John Johnson wants. I'm holding out for 1,500, if not more. Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk, my group. I don't spend as much time in there as I should. We have an admin team in there. We have a moderator at arms, Edward Smith Sr., who spends a lot of time in there. But I go in there when I can, and people are actually posting in that group. It's a public group. Anybody on Facebook can be a member of it, so you don't have to be a member of it to use it and enjoy it, or use it and not enjoy it. I think there's about 240 members, but membership really wasn't important. You have it. Hug for Freedom Florida, you've got it. It's time that if you don't have that beautiful Hug for Freedom decal, you should have it. And if you're in any other state with a Hug for Freedom group here on Facebook, you should have them too. So message me if you don't have them, and I will put you in touch with the people to get them if you want them. Patriot News Sniffing Dogs, you've got it. Congressional Accountability Committee, I used to post in there a lot. You've got it. New Republic News 2023 really should be New Republic News 2024. But before I stepped down as an admin, I didn't change it. Broadcasting, you've got it. Everybody knows that the broadcasting group is actually it's a page. No, it's a group. It's a group. I take that back. It is a group. It's mainly people with any kind of broadcast on Facebook posting into it. And then it is a spamonizers group. So if you enjoy reading spam, you should go to broadcasting and watch the broadcast and enjoy the spam that's in there. Right now, that group doesn't have an admin. I was an admin, and it got to be that it was taking too much work, so I stepped down as an admin and thought someone else was going to become an admin, but they didn't. But the group is still there. The group owner honestly hasn't been in the group or on Facebook in 13 years. And so I don't know if group owner can be changed. I talked to Facebook about it once and thought they were going to do it, and they kind of indicated they were going to do it, and they didn't do it, and it's just not important anymore. Red State Talk Radio All-Stars. That was a group that J.J. McCartney started for Facebook members that were Red State Talk Radio broadcasters. And for a while it was busy, but now a bunch of us still post in there. Flip It Red, Massachusetts, because it's about time, and I say that in every election, it's about time that Massachusetts does flip red. They're that close that I think they might actually go Trump this year. As far as their House reps and their senators. If you're a Republican from Massachusetts and you're in the House and you're in the Senate, you've got a tough election. If you're running because they're very loyal to their Democrats and they will keep voting their Democrats forever. MAGA One Radio, you've got it. Conspiracies and MAGA Q, you've got it. That's an interesting group. You have to go down there and actually read it. It's a group full of the conspiracies of Q and MAGA and a few other things. You've got it. Freedom News, you've got it. And I think that pretty much Semper Patriotai, you have it. And I haven't been as active as I should be in that group. And Fonda Blair group, Make America Florida, you got it. And it's great to see Fonda back. She had some serious health issues that she is recovering from and recuperating from and getting back to being a very productive Trump soldier on Facebook, as she is known to be. They indict, we unite, I stand with Trump. You get it. That's another one of Fonda Blair's groups, but I like it because it has Stand with Trump in the name. And I think Biden is not my president. You can have it. I don't know if they normally let me post in there or not. I think that's pretty much it. That's more than the 28 that we normally post to every day. 24. So that's okay. That's okay. If you didn't see the broadcast live, I hope you have caught it as a podcast in one of those groups or on my profile. If you regularly don't see our broadcasts, which are at 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, 7 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday evening, and 10 a.m. Eastern if they happen on Saturdays like they are going to happen this Saturday, you can message me and ask me to send you Boogie with the Bull broadcasts to you on Messenger. The message that you send me has to indicate that you want me, as of the date you write that message, to send you all of the Boogie with the Bull broadcasts on Facebook to you on Messenger. I will print that out and I will keep it in a file. If and when you don't want to get them message to you anymore, do the same thing, write it with the date that you wrote it on it and say that you don't wish to get them anymore and send it to me. And again, that will go in a file only because if I get a spam complaint from Facebook that I'm spamming anybody on Messenger or spamming anyone's groups, I will send to Facebook, on this day they said it was okay, on this day they said it was not okay, and to the best of my knowledge, we didn't send it to them anymore. I can't be responsible if someone who watches the broadcast has you as a friend and they send it to you on Messenger. But sending broadcasts out on Messenger is something that we have done and will do if you want it. Also, I tell people, if you can't watch me when I'm live, watch me when you see the podcast. Make your comments just like you were commenting as if we were live. I'll be notified and I will go and watch the broadcast and look for your comments and address them the next time we're on, or contact you and address them with you if it's not something that should be discussed on a broadcast. Anyway, so this is the part of the broadcast where I say, well, we have gone over an hour and 3 minutes. You've been watching Boogie with the Bull, Red Friday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. Today, on this broadcast, we actually did not violate anybody's copyrights. So there will be no copyright complaints on this broadcast. Yesterday, Ray put up something and I ran it by. I asked some of the fair use broadcasters I know, and some of the fair use broadcasters that are lawyers that I know. And again, it was fair use. And YouTube has been very generous in the sense that they're not slapping me with all kinds of copyrights or half truths, part truths, whatever, when we do things like that, which is kind of strange. I actually don't know why. It's been probably 6 months since a YouTube violation, and we're not doing anything different. So, except acknowledging when we do something that's fair use, and maybe because we're doing that, then the Google algorithms that watch us on YouTube must be happy. Anyway, we went over the hour that I planned by 6 minutes. So double V's for victory. This Boogie with Your broadcast, this Ramblefest of Tangentry is going to come to an end tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. 7 other people that want to be on the broadcast with me are welcome to be on the broadcast with me, or less than 7 people that want to be on the broadcast with me are welcome to be on with me. Hopefully Randy Rhodes will be feeling well enough to want to be up and be on a hour-long broadcast with us. We have really good luck with the Saturday broadcast when we do it. We get usually around 140 people watching, and then the total views go way up from there. So if you're around 10 o'clock tomorrow, 10 Eastern, tomorrow morning, look for us on the Dave Logan profile here on Facebook, in anywhere between 23 and 28 Facebook groups live, the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and at Boogie WT Bull over on X. Normally, when there's a panel and it's not my turn to talk, I take it from the YouTube channel and put it over on Streetlock and on Wimkin, so that Streetlock and Wimkin viewers get to use the live chat to be a part of the broadcast. I didn't do that this morning, and I apologize to anyone on Wimkin who sees it on my profile and wants to watch it or goes to my profile looking for it. It has a really weird YouTube link that for some strange reason doesn't open to show you the picture so that you know it's my broadcast. So I type in there manually, Boogie with the Bull, the date, who's on the broadcast with me. But for now, that's what we have to do. So it is there. It'll be there today as a podcast, so you can watch it. And it'll be there on Streetlock as a podcast too. But tomorrow morning we'll be live with the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat on Streetlock and Wimkin. And we're still looking around for other places that we can do the same thing with. And I have said August, the first week of August, we'll finish the process with Rumble and be live on Rumble the right way. And we'll have Rumble and YouTube to help pass the broadcast. Anyway, I'm Dave William. You're not. Thank you for the privilege of letting me abuse your time. It's coming up on 11:15. It's time to feed Lola and Delilah. Delilah's in her bed sleeping, I believe. Oh, she may still be on our bed sleeping. And Lola is in her office. And so she'll probably come out for brunch. Anyway, live well, live prosper. I want to thank the 10 people that watched live, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe another 100 that might watch, because this one was kind of not as exciting as one could be, because I didn't raise my voice up and down. I didn't wear headphones, and so I could hear the other people on the broadcast and get my cues like other people. Anyway, it's time to call it a day. So we'll hit this one and give you the double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is coming to an end. If we did send it to a group and you don't want me to send it to that group anymore, please let me know. An admin, write me something on Messenger or just tag it that why it's not proper for me to post it in your group, and I will. Some groups, it has to have a title on it that has to be actually typed in to a group post. If that is the case, let me know. I will go into your group and I will change it so that it has the proper title after the broadcast. If we were a budget broadcasting company and not the no budget broadcasting company, we'd have live producers and everybody that could do that for me while we were live, and we would just come here and do what we do, and we enjoy doing it. Anyway, it's a good excuse for caffeine, because you didn't enjoy it on this broadcast, go enjoy some caffeine. And if you shop for your caffeine on Facebook, go to the Fat Cup Coffee Company page here on Facebook and look around, and then go to their website, fatcupcoffeecompany.com, I believe, and look around there and actually buy something. And if you can, on that order form on their website, comment that you heard about them on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. I would really like to form a sponsorship agreement with them where we announce throughout the broadcast Fat Cup Coffee Company and promote Fat Cup Coffee Company in exchange for for me, a bag of their, I think it was a pound bag ground of their coffee, and it lasted me about a month. And I want it, and maybe even a Fat Cup Coffee thermal mug that I can drink it in while we're doing Boogie with the Bull broadcasts. And then maybe some thermal mugs that we can give away, and maybe a pound of coffee here and there that we can give away. You'll contact Fat Cup Coffee Company to get that delivered to you if they agree to that, and go from there. It's really, really, really good coffee. As far as, like I tell you, the house coffee is really, really good. And it reminds me of the dark Italian roast coffee that my parents used to use in the Boston Coffee Exchange. So if you like the good dark Italian roast, you'll like their house blend. And if not, there's several different kinds of beans and roasts and flavors, and you can get whole beans sent to you if you have a grinder. You can get ground sent to you, I believe, if you don't have a grinder. I believe in some cases you can get K-cups of the coffees that they have if you're a Keurig kid. Anyway, live well, live prosper, enjoy your day, have a great weekend. Please watch us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Share this broadcast anywhere on Facebook that we didn't share to that you think it should go. Also, take it from the YouTube channel. Subscribe and like the YouTube channel. Take it from the YouTube channel and post it anywhere on the internet that you think it should be. And let me know where you do, because if at the least we can share it from the YouTube channel, and that network will allow the YouTube live chat to go. Hey, we bring more people in to watch and more people in to provide topics as we go through the broadcast. Anyway, it is time to say good day and make brunch for animals, and maybe even think about something for me. I don't know. Anyway, double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end, and double B's right now that it will probably come to an end right about now. Just about an hour and 15 minutes. We did go over a little bit, but I ramble and I tangent. I hope you learned something and got you thinking about something. And if it didn't, I apologize. And if it did, come watch us tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern on the Dave Boogie Facebook profile, Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Follow me on X at BoogieWTBull. You can follow me on Truth Social. I'm Dave Logan in all lowercase, no spaces. You can follow me over there. I always forget, usually every day, to take the podcast and put it over there. So I need to just do it more and more. They're in the process of setting up their live streaming group over there. They raised money, a substantial amount of money. Supposedly, if it all gets to where it needs to be, they will have $1 billion to invest in their live stream operation over there. Typically, it's around $300 million to buy the servers and get them all set up so that you can be a global live streamer. It's very, 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 very expensive, which is why a lot of social media networks don't have it. But anyway, oops, wait a minute, it slipped. Well, do that.